Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 26 in the second year of the Gaming Decathlon competition. That's right, we are at the halfway point of the year as we wrap up the 6th month, we wrap up June, we move into July. This week I brought in 2,269 points. It is a little bit of a drop off from last week, but considering that I had three new series start off this week, that's actually not a bad drop. But next week, the last of those replacement scores are going to go, and our number one all-time score is going to be dropped away, so I expect next week's score to be significantly lower. Best round score of just a few weeks ago, before we started recycling these games, was 2,899. It's going to be a while before we get back up there. Could be actually quite a while. Current virtual best is only slightly above that at 2,969, and again, one more of these games, the score is going to be wiped out next week. So we can see that drop actually quite a bit from where it is. I should stay above 2,000, but only just. The all-time virtual best did see a nice jump this week to 5,554. That's a full 80 points higher than a week ago, and then we'll see. We'll see how long it's going to be before we get much going on in that department, but we could see some movement there. Just subtle movement in the near future. Now, looking at the 10 games individually, Pro Cycling Manager 2018 career mode. I'm going to have to start emphasizing that point because I have series for 2018 and the now newly released, as of Thursday, Pro Cycling Manager 2019 as well. So the 18 career mode, that series still going, and we had a massive jump after a very successful week in the couple episodes of that series, to go from 237 up to 325 points. That's the big mover this week. Pro Cycling Manager 2019 career mode. Brand new series, just getting started, 2 episodes in, 8 points so far. We're back down as a continental team, and we could actually have a pretty decent year as a continental team. But our first couple races, our first 4 races, are all against World Tour teams, making up half the field, and they're too strong. They are much too strong for us. So I think compared to other continental and even pro-continental teams, we'll definitely find some success this year. A lot of good young riders, and excited about where that series can go. Sponsorship money is looking good, so we've got a decent sponsorship, unlike the previous career mode series that started so low with very little money, and it's been hard to grow. This one should grow a bit faster. Now, wrapping up the 18 Pro Cyclist mode, the end of the series, I did decide to call it quits on that one with the launch of 2019. I did make it to the end of the season, and I was fighting to make it the first game ever to complete the goal. That goal being 1,000 points, mastering the game. I won La Vuelta, the Vuelta España, as in the Tour of Spain. Second time that I won it, and I dominated it this time, and I got a lot of points. And then I went through the last 5 races of the year, and got a good amount of points, and came freaking close. So freaking close. 983 points. You could pretty much call that mastered. I mean, that's a really good score. It's not 1,000 though. And I did not win the Tour de France. I didn't even win the Giro d'Italia. I took second there. I was on the podium, but I did not win. And the Tour de France went horribly. I mean, either one of those a little bit better, and we would have had that 1,000 points. But we're going to try again. I have already started the 19 Pro Cyclist mode. It's not on the score list yet. next week it'll replace 18 cyclist mode, but I haven't scored any points on there yet. Also, for both of those, that career mode and that pro cyclist mode, I upped the difficulty. So it's going to be harder to get near 1,000 and could take longer. So can I surpass that 983 with PCM 19? We'll find out. It's definitely the game that I've come close to mastering. But now we're on a new difficulty, new series, start from scratch. So we'll see how that goes. Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019, 380 points. We're continuing on into our season. Definitely worried about the future, but playing in Conference B now, second tier, very, very prestigious schools alongside me. Conference B itself is better than any conference in America right now in college basketball. It's better than every single one of them in real life. And there's still one conference even above where I'm at. In terms of, the top to bottom of the league is just phenomenal teams. We're hanging in there so far, but we've still got some work to do this season. Okay, Motorsport Manager, the new series. We restarted the series with same rules, same dynamics, but we started from F1. Did that a week ago. We continued the journey this time, and the car is so far off the pace that we wish we were Williams. Real life F1, Williams is definitely off the pace compared to everyone else. Austria was this weekend. I have not watched the race yet, so no spoilers on that, but qualifying, I just finished watching that. I've been out of town and just got back in town and trying to get this video done here on Sunday afternoon. But Williams, 2 seconds off the pace in Q1. The next slowest car, 1.3 seconds off the pace. So they're getting closer, but they're 0.7 of a second off the pace on a 1-lap pace compared to everybody else. And that's the back markers that they're compared to. I wish that I was 0.7 off of the back markers. That's all we'll say on that one. Steel Division 2. Still sitting on 100 points, still working on the first campaign. 2 objectives to meet. 100 points for the overall campaign, and I'm splitting that up evenly amongst those objectives. So if I get one objective, that's 50 points. If I get the other, that's 100. Still short of that. But second week of the series, and it is the best launch of a series that I've ever had. So a lot of support. Could be new viewers here watching this video that are here because of Steel Division 2. And if you are, thanks for tuning in. But if you haven't checked that series out yet, do so. Big new one. And as an Army veteran who was a history teacher, I'm enjoying the World War II aspects of it. Though, admittedly, my expertise is mostly Western Front. As an American, I suppose you could say naturally. My secondary area of expertise is the War of the Pacific. Again, as an American. And I happen to know a bit less about the Eastern Front than I do. So I'm actually enjoying this series and kind of getting myself up to speed on the Eastern Front. Now, Imperator Rome. Really good week here. Kind of pushing into the next phase of the game on where we're at. Now, there's actually a new update that just came out for Imperator Rome, but because I was out of town and because of the launch of these new games, I've already pre-recorded next week's episode. And so it'll be the week after where I get into that update, and I'm hoping that my game is still playable. I have not gone in to check to see if I'm going to have to restart my series, but I really hope not, because I'm really happy with where we're going, and we're getting quite close to our goal of becoming Gaul. But in order to advance, in order to go forward, I knew we needed to move into the next phase. We're going to have to advance the government, advance our civilization, and so I did a lot of work in turning tribesmen and freemen into citizens in order to increase our both civilization and our technology and catch up to the other nations around us. We're the biggest around the area, but we're essentially the weakest around the area. But we have the most troops, which counters that and keeps us strong enough. But I'm trying to actually catch up in the strength department through technology. Drafting Sports College Football 2019. No victories this week. We had a really tough stretch. 3 road games out of 4. We have the toughest teams on our calendar in this stretch. So not much fireworks going on right now. But there's always next week. Factorio Diggy. The scenario, it's a lot of fun. Not getting a lot of viewers, so I'm already thinking about moving on to the next series. And if I do, and let me know in the comments below if you want to see this, my plan is another Pro Cycling Manager 2019 Pro Cyclist mode. But instead of a stage racer, it would be a cobbled classics racer. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below, and we'll see what I can do. It's a bit more time consuming, especially having 3 series already for PCM, because it takes more than twice as long to film, and then I have to edit and render, and I can't do other things on the computer while that's happening. And so one episode eats up 4 hours, where like Factorio Diggy, it's 45 minutes and done, move on. Maybe about an hour in all, but it definitely takes longer to produce the videos for PCM 19, but it's my most enjoyable game, and it's something I've wanted to do, having a couple of classics writer, so yeah, let me know. And finally, F1 2019 Career Mode, brand new series, replacing its counterpart, the F1 2018 series, and we start right away with our first 2 episodes of the week, just after launch on Thursday, the same day that PCM 19 came out. I went through the F2 story mode portion, and it was fun. I liked it. Wish it was longer, or wish that you had the option to make it longer. For example, it would have been nice to do an entire season of F2, or at least longer. You know, I got 1 complete sprint race in, and that was it. And then otherwise it was a few laps and a few laps, and that was that. It would have been nice to have the few laps, a little bit longer, few laps, full race, and a full race. You know, see, even just that would have stretched out a little bit more and made it a little more exciting, a little more interesting how that could have been done. Now, we're going to quickly look at what the scoring for F1 2019 Career Mode is, and then we'll move on to the all-time best. So, scoring for F1 2019 Career Mode. First 100 points are based off of the AI difficulty level, taken directly from that. I'm playing at an 80, so there's 80 of those 155 points that I've scored already. The assists, that's a score based off of 0 to 100. 100 meaning I have no assists whatsoever. I'm not a noob, but I'm definitely not a pro at all for sim racing yet. I want to get there eventually. But again, point of the channel, right? Growth. Become a master of these games. Well, the assists, I have 5 assists that are turned on. I multiply that by 5, that's 25. I take away 25 points from that 100 points. So there's 75 points right there. And then we have car upgrades. There's about 100 of them on the full tree. I multiply that by 4. So 4 points for every car upgrade that we do. And then finally, championship points. Drivers, not constructors. Drivers' championship points. And the historical best for that is about 400. It's been surpassed by a few points, just a few times, just over 400. Recently by Hamilton especially. I think the highest he got was like 409, 410-ish. So there's the other 400. That's the scoring for F1 2019. We start off with 155. We had our first race for Williams F1 Racing Road to Glory Series, starting from the back, the slow car, and pace was well, and I actually had a good race. Actually had a really good race. Nowhere near the points, but it was a good race. Australia is a little bit hard for me, Melbourne. I'm hoping that F1 2019, from what I've heard, compared to 2018, the cars had a bit of oversteer in 2018. And so it was really easy to lose the back end. For me, it was really easy to lose the rear end. I had a lot of oversteer issues in 2018. What I've heard about F1 2019 is it's more of an understeer. So it's harder to make the turns, but there's more stability in the car. I prefer that to the oversteer, because the oversteer, unless you catch it immediately and you get the counter steering, you spin around. While here it's just harder to make corners, and you need to brake a little bit more, you need to prepare a little bit more. Well, I'm in the Williams, where that's really the case already, as it's got a really bad aero package. So I can deal with that, and I'm used to dealing with that, driving the most difficult to drive car that's going to be a bit off pace compared to everybody else, but that's why you make the car upgrades and you improve and we get better. But if I can keep the car on the track because it's not spinning out, that makes life a lot easier. I've also de-stressed a few things for myself, and I think it's going to work out for the better. And so I'm expecting a lot more from my 2019 career mode over the 2018 one, which still didn't finish too badly. I mean, we had 337 points. All right, now the all-time virtual best, top 10. The only move was at number 1 with the 2018 career mode, Pro Cyclist mode, where I got up to 983 points, where it's going to be at its final mark. Now, with that game going away next week, I literally have one active game in the top 10, meaning 9 of the top 10 scores that I've had all time are games that are no longer active. Good news, though, big mover, jumping about 5 places with nearly 100 points scored this week, was PCM 18 career mode. So it moves up to 12th place, replacing the F1 2018 that just missed. It was in 11th, just missed making the top 10 list, but is no longer active. So it moves up above Motorsport Manager and the college football games that essentially stay in their spot, but technically move down 1 place in the standings. So PCM 18 career mode should be cracked in the top 10, I think, pretty soon, because it's now only 19 points from matching 10th place. And if I scored 88 points last week, I think I can manage to get 19 points. Maybe not next week, but soon, hopefully. But that'll do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm Decathlon Gamer. Be sure to hit that like button, and definitely check out the content. The new series this next week, my views are way up compared to what they used to be. My itty-bitty, tiny little channel that could is now just the little channel that could. Let's keep getting it bigger. Bye for now.